Okay, here we are back. We're going to talk about this first compartment in the back on the passenger side. This is where the generator is. Incidentally, all the compartments use the same key, a different key from the door though. And then here's where the generator is. It's an Onan 6.5 or 6500 genset. Emerald Plus will power everything in the coach. Carburetor was replaced roughly at October of 09, I believe, by the previous owner. He told me he had it replaced. Works pretty well. Every once in a while a little temperamental starting. It sometimes takes a couple cranks, but I changed it so it runs pretty good. If you come look at the RV, I'll show you a little trick. Every once in a while, a little trouble starting this. It has to do with this fuse right here. It's just a temperamental connection there, and usually just take the fuse out, put it back, and it's fine. But oil was changed last year by me, oil and filter. Like I said, carburetor was done. This thing works great. I've run this. It's got about just over 400 hours. I'll show you the meter inside later. Just over 400 hours on it, but it starts right up and after a couple cranks if it's been sitting, and it runs just fine. Well, like I said, we'll power both roof air conditioners and all the outlets in the coach. Cut off the side here is the LP tank. Previous owner installed this kit, which you can see with the T right here, where this allows you, and I have the hose in another compartment, this allows you to hook up an external cylinder. And that way, if you didn't want to, if you're going to park this and be at a place for a while, you could just have an external cylinder delivered by your local propane company, and that would allow you not to run out of propane. That T will also let you hook up another line, which I don't have. You'd have to buy separately. That would allow you to power a propane grill in your campsite or whatever. But I don't have that option. But just have the one that plugs in. There's roughly, as you can see there, about maybe 2/3 of a tank. A little hard to see. Propane. It uses very little. I don't use the stove much, but I use it for the fridge quite a bit, and I have yet to fill that in a year. This next compartment coming up the passenger side, this one is a little bit, I'll tell you, when it's cold, sometimes the struts on this don't stay up as nice. You have to sort of hold it. What I was going to do is swap the struts with one of the other compartments, like for the LP tank that I never really use. You're going to see, notice the compartments, you just have tons of room. This one we actually used for, you can see it goes up in there. There's a tire in there, that's for the tow dolly. That I have for sale separately. That doesn't come with the RV, but I can talk about that later on. Tons of room here. We use this compartment for tables and chairs, the folding ones. Folding tables that go up there, the chairs that go in the bags that go down here. Really nice entertainment area, tray that pulls out here. And 2 speakers, you have 12-volt power, you have an outlet for the entertainment system, cable outlet there, power. Radio here, it's not the greatest, to be honest with you. And the tape deck sometimes gets a little funny, and the antenna's missing on the roof, but that would be just a simple replacement. I really rarely used it, and when I did, I used the tape adapter, which is how I know, with an iPod, which is how I know why it gets a little funny sometimes. Once again, that'd be next to nothing to replace, especially like that. Just get a cheapy one to throw in there. Didn't use it enough to warrant doing that. And then coming up, another compartment here. No shortage of compartments. This one I use for mostly, you can see I have the power cord I talked about earlier. There's the hose that you'd use to hook up the external propane tank. You can see that whole kit with the hose kit was $112, and that was probably a couple years ago, I guess. There's the hose there. This RV, you can see, has storage that goes straight through. When we get on the other side, you'll see a little better the light. This RV does not have leveling jacks, so I have these blocks you can use to level, and then there's also these stands here you can use to level, manual levels. That never was a really big deal for me. We're going to walk around the other side now. Like I said, step, a little wobbly, but it works. Never was a big deal because I know a good friend of mine has problems with his, and he's having trouble getting the controller right, and I just usually tried to park with something this big. You're really going to be in a flat spot anyway. A lot of times you're going to look for a flat spot, so I'm not really I was never really a big issue for me. This compartment, this is one of the ones that goes all the way through, and I'm going to open up the right next to it. So these join. They're not, there's a divider in the middle, but they join. so you can pass through here. You can see now how with the light coming through the other side, how much space there actually is. This goes the entire width of the coach, with the exception right there where your stairway is. Okay, so there's plenty of room right there. You can stick night tents and you know, like fold up tents and things, screen rooms, charcoal, whatever you name it, you can put it up there. Bigger items, coolers fit really nice here. We had a small propane like fake heater we had in there. It's maybe about a foot round. They fit real nice. And then this compartment here, this is on the other side of the entertainment area. So you see this one's nice and wide. So if you got a really long cooler or something long you want to fit in there, you can fit that in. Now you see how that goes all the way through. That tire will not be there. That comes out. That's for the tow dolly. Unless you want to purchase the tow dolly separately, we can work something out there. That would go with it. And coming down the back side, this is one of those quirky things I was telling you about. This doesn't really lock. There's the gas filler just sort of sits in there. All right, moving along here to the compartment right behind the rear wheels on the driver's side. This is sort of where your hookups go. On the left side, you're going to see some what are called termination valves or dump valves or blade valves. Those are literally brand new last week. I put them in. This is how you empty your tanks at the campground. Black water, gray water. Black water, toilet water. Gray water is your shower and sinks. Underneath here, there's a black water flush system, so you can hook a hose up at your campground, flush out the black water tank, leave your tank open, obviously dump. You have a shower here, hot and cold water shower. You can use this to just rinse off, or to, you know, you can actually take a shower if you wanted to. Water fill tank, city water, and water tank fill. What that does is when you're hooked up to the city water fill, you can then either fill your tank, onboard tank, before you leave the campground, or when you're in the campground, you throw the switch to city water, and you're good to go. You always want to stay on city water, the switch there. Otherwise, when you're on water tank fill, your water pump doesn't work properly when you're not hooked up to city water. On the other side here, you have a telephone hookup, cable TV hookup, water pump switch, so you don't have to go inside to turn the water pump on if you want to use the shower. And then the lights. There's a light above us on the wall, on the side of the wall of the RV. Also, I've never used a telephone input. I don't know if that works. I've never used cable. It should, but the cable, telephone, I'm not sure of. But now with the days of cell phones, that's sort of not needed. Power switch, room for storage here. So if you want to put your hoses here, you can also put your hoses here. This disc spins. You can put your hoses up underneath the coach and hook up, and then close this door so you don't have to leave it open if you're going to be at a place for a long time. Okay, and then the last compartment down here is your water tank, and also where your water pump is. This is also where you'd winterize the RV. You have a hose here to suck up antifreeze, the kind you can put in swimming pools that's non-toxic, and then the pump lives right here. There's also a drain valve and some other valves in there depending on what you want to do. Water pump, and there's quite a bit of storage here, so you could put more things in here. I have the sewer hose in here. There's a jack. This is to get the covers for the wheels off. There's a regular hose. The water hose can go in here, etc. Incidentally, you will get a water hose to go with it, and also the power cord like I talked about before. And the other way I mentioned, there's two ways to fill the water tank. The other one is here. You have the key, open that up, put your hose in there and fill, or you can do it through the city water fill. City water fill is easier because you're usually at the campground anyway. Just throw the switch, away you're good to go. And so that's about it with all the compartments on the outside. All right, here we are up on the roof. There are two roof air conditioners here, two roof vents, skylight for the shower. So here's your first air conditioner. We're walking up from the back towards the front. Here's the skylight for the shower, which we'll see later. Here's the roof vent into the bathroom. Here's the roof vent into the kitchen. Here's your second air conditioner. Here's your TV antenna here that cranks up from inside, can be dialed in from inside. It's also called a bat wing, some people call it. This is the top of the refrigerator. This is a solar panel here. This is not used, very important, this is not used for powering anything like a traditional solar panel. It's used to maintain the coach batteries. There are two deep cycle batteries on the coach, and that's used to maintain. They do a great job. So if you're parked for a while, and you know, if you're not using the RV, you know your batteries are going to be maintained that way. It's always worked well for me. This RV also has a satellite dish on the roof. This I've never tried because I don't have DirecTV or Dish Network. The only thing I can say is when you turn on the switch inside, I can hear this start up and, you know, sort of set itself up. It's a TrackNet. It says satellite internet ready, so you can look into that. And then it's called a TrackVision S3, and there you have the information there. So KVH is the brand name. you can look up for it there. Unfortunately, I apologize, I don't have any other way to test that, but I mean, in the previous owner, when I asked him, didn't know either. He never used it. This RV also has a CB antenna package, so all you got to do is really plug your CB in, wire it up, and there's an antenna drop right by the driver's left foot, and there's the antenna for the radio for the main coach, and there are your lines going in from the satellite. There's been a couple repairs up on the roof. One is here. That's a super sticky rubber membrane tape that sealed. It wasn't a hole. It was like a crack. This RV originally came from Georgia in the south, so I'm thinking it got a little brittle and cracked. And then the second one, like I talked about, is back here on the roof panel, the skylight for the shower. There's actually two pieces of tape here. They had a little crack. I don't know if they were leaking, but I just fixed them anyway. That's your roof vent. That's your vent for the toilet and stuff. All right, and that's about it from the roof and your ladder. And then you see your awning. You can get a better idea here of the awning. And you can show you where I repaired it with that same rubber membrane tape. You know, eventually that might need to be redone. I can see it's sort of peeling a little bit there, but for now this works just fine. You know, it's not in any need to it to be replaced tomorrow or anything like that. And finally, up on the roof, you can see that's where the antenna was for the radio in the entertainment center. That's in the one bay next to the door, and that antenna is missing. Assumption is all you have to do is screw one on and you'd be good to go there.